Welcome to How to Yu-Gi-Oh!
Historic Archetype, Sky Striker.
Chapter 1.
Here we are at this historic archetype, Sky Striker. So in this video, I'm briefly going to talk about Sky Striker, its impact on Yu-Gi-Oh! And how it has shaped how players think about waifus or girls, sort of, or lady, as we say, archetypes in Yu-Gi-Oh! With that being said, let's get on with the rest of the video.
Chapter 2.
So, let's talk about it. This archetype, Sky Strikers, was an archetype when the community first heard of it, when it released. With one monster and several spells, it was taken as a complete joke. No one took this archetype seriously, and we all thought that this archetype, myself included, wouldn't do anything in the competitive scene.
That sounds oddly familiar.
Little did we realize that Konami released one of the most defining archetypes of all time and shaped that year in fact, and shaped Yu-Gi-Oh! To its very core. Shaped it to its core and shaped it for the future, and waifu decks would certainly, as they are called, would certainly be having this sort of design moving forward. Now, when we talk about Sky Striker, we need to talk about one card in particular. Sky Striker, Mobilize, Engage.
Balance is made to be broken.
So, let's read it and let's talk about it. As you can see here, it says, if you control the monsters in your main monster zone, add one Sky Striker card from your deck to your hand. Except Sky Striker, Mobilize, Engage. Then if you have 3 or more spells in your graveyard, you can draw one card. Notice how there's no once per turn on this card. Indeed, Sky Striker Mobilize Engage is the card that power creeped Pot of Greed. It was at this moment that we realized that there are much more powerful cards than Pot of Greed. And at this point in time in Yu-Gi-Oh! You got to consider Pot of Greed was banned, and we've been having several versions, weakened versions of Pot of Greed fusioned with other pots. But we've had ways to draw 2 cards, but we've not had ways to draw 2 cards that you could just keep on redoing it over and over again. Allow me to explain to you a typical simple combo that would facilitate Sky Striker Mobilize Engage. First of all, you'd activate Sky Striker Mobilize Engage, adding yourself Sky Striker Mobilize, Sky Striker Hornet Drones. Hornet Drones would activate its effect, meaning you would special summon a Sky Striker token. This token would then allow you to then add to link summon into Sky Striker Kagari, which would therefore allow you to add back the engage that you just added. And in the course of the turn, naturally you would have activated 3 or more spells, meaning you would activate engage once again, add yourself whatever you need, oh, and guess what? You would get to draw a card. But wait, there's more. Because usually, with the way most Sky Striker players are, they would draw into, you guessed it, Sky Striker Mobilize Engage with that draw. Hence repeating, you could do that play all over again. Alternatively, you could play this way.
I've been caught in a deadly combo from which there's no escape.
Usually most players, what they would do at this time, if that was an example of a play you would do, you'd first activate Foolish Burial Goods. Burial Goods would therefore send Metal Foes Fusion. Metal Foes Fusion would activate its effect in the graveyard, allowing you to go back into the deck to draw 1. Then you would activate Reinforcement of the Army, allowing you, because guess what? Sky Striker, the monster, was a warrior. You'd use that to add a card, to add the main deck monster, meaning you have 2 spells in your graveyard. But wait, there's more. At this point, usually 90% of the time, you would have Sky Striker Mobilize Engage. You know where this is going. You'd use Engage's effect. At this point, you'd have 3 cards, 3 spells in your graveyard to add yourself Sky Striker Hornet Drones. Hornet Drones would then get you a token. The token would then link summon into Kagari. You know where this is going. Kagari would add you Engage back in your graveyard. Guess what? Because you now have 3 spells in your graveyard, which is Hornet Drones, Foolish Goods, and Reinforcement of the Army, you can activate Engage. What is Engage gonna do? It's gonna allow you to add any Sky Striker card, and guess what? You get to draw a card. You see where this is going. You could then, obviously with that draw, you could do so much nonsense, and you could just repeat the plays from there.
There are no limits to the power of this card.
Let's talk again. What else you could do? Let's say your hand was a bit subpar. It wasn't the best. Guess what you could do? You could activate Sky Striker Hornet Drones, right? Hornet Drones would therefore mean Hornet Drones would therefore give you a token, right? The token means you could then link summon into, you know and love it, Sky Striker Hayate. Okay, that's the green link. But before you do anything, you would therefore activate Sky Striker Reinforcement of the Army. Oh my days, we're seeing where this is going. Reinforcement of the Army will then add you know and love it, a Sky Striker main deck monster. Finally, you'd activate Foolish Burial Goods. Guess what? You now have 3 spells, sending Metal Foes Fusion from your graveyard, adding the Metal Foes Fusion back from your graveyard back in your deck, you draw 3 cards. At this point in time, you will have the Metal Foes Fusion, the Foolish Goods in your graveyard, the Hornet Drones, and the Reinforcement of the Army in the graveyard. With Hayate, you therefore attack directly, allowing you to send a Sky Striker card from your deck to your graveyard. What's it gonna be? You know what it's gonna be. It's gonna be Sky Striker Mobilize Engage.
You don't get to play, you just lose.
Guess what? In main phase 2, you're gonna then link summon with the Hayate to get you into, you know and love it, Kagari. Kagari will then add you back your Engage from the graveyard. You'd activate Engage. Guess what? You'd be able to add any other Sky Striker card from your deck to the hand, and you'd get to draw a card. You know where this is going. You'd therefore add, you'd possibly draw into an Engage. You see what I mean? You see what I'm talking about? All roads lead to Engage. Whatever play you do in Sky Strikers, you can always just rinse, repeat, add Engage from your deck to your hand. It's just so busted. It's so broken. It's unreal.
Why not saving the game?
And this is part of the archetype that really gave PTSD to players. It felt like no matter what you did, no matter how you faced Sky Strikers, they would always have Engage. I believe at that time we had loads of limits, loads of hits, and it only took like 3 to 4 to 5, I think 5 ban lists until we finally limited Sky Striker Mobilize Engage. And that was the card I was always saying that is the problem. It wasn't the Hornet Drones, while Hornet Drones was good. It wasn't like the Widow Anchor or, the continuous spell that was there that means that you couldn't respond to them when they activated a quick play, or any Sky Striker spells. No. It was always Engage. Engage was the card that allowed you to add anything. And you could see its effect. It wasn't once per turn, meaning you could always rinse, repeat its effect, draw a card, and get plussing out the wazoo. It was absolutely insane. And there you have it. Sky Strikers is a deck that shaped and changed Yu-Gi-Oh! Forever. This was an archetype that taught us just about the possibility of resources, how resources could be maximized with minimum effort. At this point in time, we had archetypes in Yu-Gi-Oh! Sure, but the maximization of resources wasn't really there, and we didn't have really any archetype in the game that really showcased, unless it was players building it, that is, an archetype that could maximize resources to the fullest potential. And Sky Strikers showcased that to all of us players. It showcased to us that resources could be maximized with minimum effort. Simply one card would allow you to net so much advantage that you would essentially win. And it was because of Sky Strikers that builds changed from that point onward. From the years following forward, players were starting to build decks with the Sky Striker Engage philosophy, with the philosophy of maximize the benefits with the least amount of resources. This is a philosophy that we see to this very day. Look at how decks are built now ever since Sky Strikers was released, and we see the construction of decks follow the Engage, Sky Striker Mobilize Engage philosophy of we have a strong effect, we use minimal amount of resources, but we maximize our benefits to the highest value and really rinse and drench and squeeze all the value out of a singular card. Just rinse it for all it's worth. All right, let's go to the next slide.
Final chapter.
Here we are at the overall conclusion. So, what I want to say about Sky Strikers, what I want to say about Sky Strikers is that Sky Strikers defined deck creation and shaped how players create decks moving forward ever since its release. It showcased to us that resources should be used with minimum requirements, but with maximum benefit. It was a philosophy change that I believe helped make players better at playing the game, especially at a higher level. We notice that decks have changed now and with how they're constructed. I think before, did we have the awareness of decks? We did. But it was only to certain players, only the best players. It wasn't a mainstream sort of a thought. But with Sky Strikers, that mainstream thinking entered our subjective consciousness. And now when we looked at decks, we thought about how to maximize the benefit with the minimal amount of resources. This thinking of maximizing benefits with minimal resources is the thinking of Sky Strikers, because Sky Strikers showed us the absolute highest potential that one can do if you use your resources carefully and efficiently. Using resources efficiently showcased to us just how powerful how powerful an archetype can be, and the roads and roadmap of what we can do when we put our minds to it, what Konami can do when resources are used in such a careful and calculated way. Well, with that being said, this video is done. Tune in next time as we'll talk about more historic archetypes that have shaped Yu-Gi-Oh! And changed how we play the game. Hope to see you soon.
We come to the end of this video. So, as I like to say, you are one step closer to becoming a Yu-Gi-Oh! Master. My fate, right, is in your hands.